interesting week that we've had in wrestling since the fallout of Survivor Series. Started to see some of the kind of feuds going forward starting to get
more planted,
cooked up a little bit. Yeah, we're starting to see some interesting stuff. And I guess one of the things that I wanted to start off by talking about is just like really interesting booking from Triple H with a lot of the top tier, like quote unquote main event talent on the men's side of things. I really like the way that everything has been kind of interwoven between a lot of different guys that like
it reminds me like an old school, fucking back in like the early like mid 2000s and shit like that.
I agree.
We would have a lot of triple threats or fucking.
I agree. And I feel like the benefit of it is that going into Mania season now, I feel like you could book WrestleMania and like the Rumble and Chamber and all that stuff in like so many different ways, and all of those would make sense because of the fact that you've had so many different guys crossing paths and stuff like that, like Punk and Seth and all the stuff that they've been doing together, and now Sammy's getting mixed up in that
with fucking what's his face with fucking Drew McIntyre.
Drew coming back and attacking him and all of that. We have Kevin Owens, who's recently mentioned in the interview with Michael Cole that he's been keeping his eye on Sami Zayn, and like he'll get to that later. Like that's another potential feud that could be brewing down the line.
We
and obviously
Jey Uso coming back still, bro.
Exactly, and now we're pretty sure that either Drew McIntyre or Kevin Owens, one of these guys that's like super anti-bloodline, is gonna end up having beef with Jey Uso at some point. Randy Orton is still in the mix somewhere. He got taken out by Kevin Owens. He's going to end up coming back into the picture somehow. And all of this is revolving around Gunther with that World Heavyweight Championship, just because with Cody, it feels like that championship is a bit more out of reach. It feels like that's going to be either like Roman or The Rock or something like that. Yeah. But with Gunther, it kind of all revolves around him and that title. Like that's the guy that eventually all of these other guys will end up chasing if he's still the champion. But at the moment, he's got to deal with Damian and Finn Balor, who are both chasing after him. Yeah. And so when you look at that, I just listed off, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 8 or 9 guys that are like all kind of mixed up in different things, crossing paths with one another. And honestly, you could mix up all of those guys in different feuds leading into Mania season.
The Royal Rumble is definitely going to be interesting.
And it would pretty much all make sense. Exactly. Like the Rumble is going to add so much more layers to all of that stuff. And with this little list of guys I was talking about, that's excluding Cody, everyone from the bloodline, and everyone that's involved more with that stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of other guys over there. Like, who knows who Jacob's going to end up beefing with at some point? Who knows what Solo's going to end up doing if he ever takes his focus off of Roman? Like, I just feel like we're at a point where for some of the faults that Triple H has had in the last few months with some of the booking, where I feel like some of the PLEs have fallen a bit short, and some of the feuds like Cody has kind of, until recently with Kevin Owens, he hasn't had a lot of great feuds for the championship. Yeah. Like, there's been some stuff like, obviously the Money in the Bank has become its own debacle. Like, there's plenty of things that we could criticize Triple H for, and I feel like on this show, we've been kind of critical of Triple H's booking, and especially recently. And so I guess I just wanted to start off by talking about something a bit more positive as far as, like, I just don't want us to be one of those shows that's, like, just negative for negativity's sake. And, like, yeah, there's been a lot of really good shit that's been happening as well, and I love just like I said, the intertwining nature of all of this stuff in the men's division. It feels like at any moment, any people could be feuding. Like, one of the things I love is that we saw someone get brought back like Shinsuke and instantly start getting a push. And it kind of gives me hope that someone like a Finn Balor or someone else that's been like lacking that push recently could just out of nowhere start to get a little bit more momentum. Yeah, like
even if he just holds the title for like a month or so.
Exactly, like just something would be big for him to get some more positive momentum. And so I guess overall, with a lot of the top end of the men's division, I have been really happy with what Triple H is doing. And I guess it's honestly just like he's got like a spoil of riches, and like you've got so many guys that have that top level potential is what I'm trying to say. Like literally everyone I just named right there is worthy of carrying around one of these motherfuckers, you know? Like, you've got all of these dudes that are top level talents, championship level talents, main event level talents. And they all just get to beef with each other. It's really fucking cool. For a fan's perspective, I'm extremely excited with what we've been seeing in the men's main event scene. The mains. In the mains. What's up, man? In the men's main event scene, it's been really exciting. This is kind of an impromptu question. I wasn't actually planning on asking you this, but from these names here on the list that I just listed, if you could fantasy book a Mania feud, pick 2 from the list and tell me why.
Ooh.
Go ahead and you can take a look here. I got them listed out. Punk, Seth, Sammy, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Gunther, Finn Balor, and Damian. Pluck 2 and give me your fantasy book of what you want to see.
It's definitely going to be Punk.
I agree. I think Punk is has to be involved because of the fact he was injured for the last Mania. Pray to God that he's still healthy, and we need to see him at WrestleMania. Ideally, in a main event, even if it's night 1.
And just because he's Seth, they're definitely going to give Seth the push.
I really didn't want us to both have the same answer, but after this last episode of Raw, how is it fucking not Punk and Seth?
And I feel like Gunther's going to drop the title, but not till Mania.
So against who?
Then to triple threat.
Triple threat.
Yeah.
Punk, Seth, Gunther. I like it.
They're going to have probably...
I actually like it.
Both having matches going towards Mania or some shit.
Uh-huh.
And
okay.
They're both probably going to interfere, and this is probably calls like a triple threat type of shit.
Can I tell you what I
right now it's just a side story, but it's going to build up to some shit. Cause
yeah.
With the Elimination Chamber,
Royal Rumble. Yeah. I would love to see, if Punk wins the Rumble, but then Seth wins a Chamber, and they both say that they want to go for the heavyweight championship in Mania. That would be really interesting for sure. Fuck, bro. Like I said, I didn't want us to have the same answer. So just for the sake of that, just so we could have different answers, because I love, Punk and Seth. Please, sign me up. But if I have to give a different answer just for the sake of the show, I know that they've done it before, but it was different back then. It would be I think it would hit a lot harder now. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Give it, because I believe the last time they did it was a tag or some
tag team title.
Exactly, it's not the same, bro. We need them up against each other.
That'd be interesting, but I don't feel
feuding how it's been ever since it was them on the indies together. This is what their entire friendship and story has been.
Be a good feud, but I feel like that would be more like IC title type of vibes.
See, I don't even think it needs a belt because of how deep their relationship is. If you start building it, the seeds have already been planted. So you think
that should be a main event type of shit?
A night 1 main event, because obviously night 2 we know is going to go to Cody versus either Rock or Roman or whoever that ends up being. But night 1 main event, I do think you could make a strong case that a KO versus Sammy,
that's interesting,
or maybe a opening the card type of thing, match. Either way, I'm of course, there's only one main event spot. I understand that you might want to put the World Heavyweight Championship in that night 1 main event spot, or a Women's Championship in that night 1 main event spot. So I could understand them not main eventing, but a big time WrestleMania moment for Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, for them to be able to run that, I think that would be truly legendary. And I feel like right now is the perfect opportunity because you have Kevin Owens in this spot where he's this completely lost character. He's pissed off at the whole world. He hates everybody. And now you got Sammy realigning with the Bloodline, which is KO's mortal fucking enemy. It's so perfect. It's so set up.
Or whatever.
Exactly. Literally in the little car interview he did with Michael Cole recently, they brought it up and he said Sami Zayn, we're gonna get to that eventually. They've started planting the seeds. I think if we get a face-off at the Royal Rumble, where in the Rumble itself they kind of go up against each other and that starts a feud going forward, something like that, I could see. Or even just KO coming out and fucking over Sammy in a match. Just because, fuck you, why are you working with the Bloodline? There's a lot of ways you could work it. where I think that could also end up being a top tier feud. And it's crazy because both of those matches we just said would be absolutely amazing. And still, I think there's so many other great options on the table. It just like I said, it goes to the how well a lot of the main event talent on the men's side has been getting booked lately. It's really impressive. So yeah, bro, fucking W Triple H.
He's been doing great.
Let Papa H cook.
SmackDown's a little stale right now, but
When Roman goes absent, it gets tough. But
Cody's good, but like it's hard because they put him in a position where like, oh, you're already gonna do this at Mania, so like, there's so much we can do with you. Yeah, we'll try to get you into a feud. He can beat Kevin Owens.
The stuff they've been doing with KO has been the best stuff they've done so far because at least it feels more personal. But it does still feel kind of inevitable that Cody's probably, well, we'll get into predictions, but